Ooh, let's go. Welcome back to the Danger Zone podcast. I am your host, Elbert Danger Kim, and thank you for joining me on this fine Tuesday morning when this is going to be released for another episode. This is a solo cast today, just me, you, me, my thoughts, and here we go. So, I know it's always nice to have guests on the show. I generally like having people here. It's good to be talking to a person, not just me and a microphone spitballing all the crazy shit that rattles around in my head. But I do enjoy doing these solo casts too, just because when I have guests on, it's really nice because then I get to, swap opinions with someone else and have a good laugh and have a great time with good conversation, good people, Good experience all around, right? But these solo casts allow me to really express myself without without anyone else here, as if I were just to speak to an empty room of nobody. But technically speaking, since it's a recording, I'm not speaking to an empty room because people are listening to it. When I say people are listening to it, I mean like 5 people that I forced to listen to it on Facebook are listening to it. So it gives me an opportunity to really poke and prod at these different things that I have these observations in life, and that's where inspiration comes from, right? Your own life. So a lot of the topics I like to talk about, whether it be on this podcast or in my own comedy, comes from just stuff that I'm going through. As I'm sure a lot of artists or other creative heads would like to agree, like a lot of the stuff that you tend to focus on is just stuff that happens in your life. And one thing I've been kind of struggling with lately is the idea of image. And it's a big thing. People talk about it. I feel like people don't have a real honest conversation about it, because to have an honest conversation about it, you got to kind of admit to yourself that there's a lot of bullshit going on. A lot of bullshit going on in terms of how you're looking at me, I'm looking at you, how we're looking at each other, or just how I'm trying to make you look at me and how you're trying to portray yourself to me. Things like that. It's the whole idea of how I want people to think of me, how I want them to see me, and I feel as a comedian and just being a funny guy in general, that has a huge factor in our daily lives. So, for example, the idea of the funny guy, right? I'm not going to go ahead and be like, hey, I'm the funniest dude in the world, but, I like to make jokes. I like to have a laugh. I like to have the crack. I like to do the crack, as people in Ireland would say, or people from that wherever the fuck area. I like to have a good time. So I like to joke around, and I feel like that's just become my persona. And that was fine when it was back in the day, and, I was a kid. You don't really have to do a lot of self-examination and self-awareness and think about, why am I doing this thing? But now that I'm older, and especially because I'm pursuing comedy as a career, and I'm around a lot more funny people, especially when you go to comedy clubs and things like that, you start to see a pattern, especially in myself. I start to notice that if I'm not in the right place, I don't want to be around people. And I just thought, okay, I'm extrovert, but deep down I need some time to be alone, recharge, and that's that. That's normal. That's just normal. But then I would get into a really dark place and then think about it from there. And I started to realize that it wasn't just the fact that I didn't want to be around people. It was the fact that I didn't feel good, so I didn't want to show people that I wasn't feeling good. And to some of you that might make sense, like, hey, don't be a downer, man. But I think it goes a little deeper than that. I think as a funny guy, as a guy who is just usually, lighthearted, likes to make the feeling in the room just easy for everybody. I like to everyone just have a good time. And I feel like a lot of funny people like just having everyone laugh because you just want to have a good time. But the thing is, you start to be known for that. And when you become accustomed to that and showing people that, you start to think that if you're not funny, people aren't going to like you anymore. Especially as a comic, right? If your job is to make people laugh, if this podcast is here to entertain you, if I can't be funny on this microphone, then people aren't going to like it. People aren't going to listen to this podcast. People are going to judge me, and people won't like me. That's just what it boils down to at the end of the day. So even right now, I was contemplating not doing this podcast just because I haven't been in a good place in my own head. And when that happens, I get very nervous when it comes to either being on stage or recording anything, especially for this podcast. So I kind of depend on having a guest. Like, it's almost like a crutch for me to have someone else there to fill the void when I'm not able to, especially right now. But I said, you know what, fuck it. Even if this ends up sucking, I end up stuttering and falling over my words, it's better to just embrace it, talk about it, and move on from there. And really, what's the worst thing that can happen? What the worst thing that can happen is I make a really shitty podcast episode that really outshines the other 6 shiners that I made, because, those were great. Because at the end of the day, it's just a matter of doing. And I am so fed up with just being kind of a quitter. I've quit so many times, and then I've lied to myself about it. And it's always just been because of my own insecurities. Because I felt like if I couldn't do a good job, I shouldn't do it at all. And that's why I'm forcing myself to record this podcast at 1:30 in the morning so that I can put this out on a strict schedule and so I can keep going and moving on from there. And what if it does suck? Okay, I can make it better, right? But at least I'm acknowledging the fact that I care too damn much about what other people think. And it's kind of a recurring issue I've been noticing a lot nowadays. Like, I try to make this podcast as entertaining as possible, but at the same time, I like to delve into the deeper issues, not just superficial talk of like, hey guys, boys and girls are different, right? Those type of jokes that you'll see on your Facebook feed, I'm sure, rehashed and fucking uploaded to the umpteenth time to the point where it's so pixelated because it's been re-uploaded and downloaded so many times that you can't even fucking see people anymore. It's just a bunch of like Minecraft block characters trying to tell you about why people at the gym are the type of people that they are. And slap my knee, it's so true. But beyond that, let's delve into some deeper shit. You know why? Oh, Elbert, why are you getting so deep? Because maybe sometimes it's worth talking about. And that's kind of what I want with this podcast. As a comedian, you kind of have these goofy little observations you make about life, and you want to talk about it. And if you can laugh about it, then that's a good thing. Which is why I want to talk about this idea of image. Because I feel like in this day and age, especially with my generation, image has become so pervasive, especially when it comes to social media and what we show to people. Because what I feel ever since I've come back to the United States is that I really have a hard time connecting with people. And, it made me think, maybe am I just socially awkward? Oh, am I inept? Oh, am I unable to speak to women or people of, the opposite ethnicity as I am? No, I'm totally fine. I generally am not an awkward person, I would hope to think. But at the same time, I feel like I demand too much out of an interaction. Like, I hate fucking small talk, and I'm sure tons of you do too. But it's just this thing that we do as a society where we just commit to small talk. It's just a platitude. And you just do it. When you meet that person, your voice goes up 3 octaves and you act all fake, like you're shocked to see them. And you might be, but you don't have to act like that. Like you're just getting coffee. Someone in line turns around. It's someone you haven't seen in 3 years. And you go, oh, hey, Daniel. I don't ever fucking talk like that. But in that situation, I talk like that. It's just this entire idea that, we have to act like that. Like, it's a very superficial interaction. If you go home, you rewind the conversation, nothing happened. You got a couple facts out of them. What they've been doing, where they've been, and you make some fucking fake-ass commitment to hang out sometime, which you're not going to follow through on. You might even get their number, but you're not going to follow through on hanging out with that person you haven't seen for 4 years, and you're totally okay with not seeing them for 4 years for. It's not going to happen. Point being, yeah, I demand a little bit too much, especially ever since I started traveling. I know, Elbert, tell us about traveling. You never tell us about that. I know I harp on it a lot, but especially when you travel, image really doesn't fucking matter. It just goes out the door. That's what I found. That's what I found so liberating about it. Is I could just go out. I didn't have to give a shit about what people thought about me because it didn't really matter. It doesn't matter. I could show them whatever. I could be as weird as I fucking wanted, and I would never see these people again, unless I wanted to. And the same thing goes for them. It applies for the people I was hanging around with. They didn't give a shit. I mean, some people may, but for the most part, they don't give a shit. And so you just can be so candid with this person you're going to meet for like 3 days. And then you leave. And you rinse, repeat, and that's kind of the cycle of how it is to backpack and travel and meet new people when you're traveling abroad. But then you take that, you come back to the States, and then it's right back to how it was. And it's so, I don't know, it's very unsettling for me. And it's hard for me to adjust back to. I was really kind of shocked, especially because, I was kind of in the loop with social media. I have a Facebook. Who doesn't have a Facebook? Most people have Facebooks, unless you want to be off the grid or, hipster and too cool. But, I had a Facebook. I kept up to date on it to a certain degree. But then when I meet people back in the States, and I thought that, we would catch up, especially because I've been gone for so long, I realized that social interaction is, it's way different from how I remember. And it goes back to the idea, tying it back to the podcast, of image. I feel like the way the conversation has been going, especially between people you call friends, has become more of a show ever since I graduated college than actual just a connection. My connections with people has become more of what I'm putting out there into the airwaves than a conversation with another person. And it's strange. Like, for example, if you don't agree with that and you disagree, just think about it. Most interactions with people is just to talk about how awesome things are. Like, if you talk to someone and you're like, "Oh, how's your life?" And they're like, "Oh, it's going great." And even if you prod a little bit deeper and you try to find out what's going on in their life, they're going to tell you it's awesome. They're going to tell you how awesome, it's been working at this firm, or it's how awesome it is ever since, the last time you saw them, or how awesome their vacation was, or they'll think about the next thing that was awesome to tell you. And granted, no one wants to hear about a bunch of sad shit, but at the same time, that's a bunch of bullshit. It's not all awesome. It really isn't. Not everything is awesome, but your interaction has just turned into a showcase. Let's take turns. You tell me how awesome your life is going. Oh, yeah, that's cool. Oh, she got married? Oh, your mom? She made that for you? Oh, show it to me on your phone. That's great. My turn. So this has been going on with me. It's awesome. I got a dog. It's awesome. I took a class how to play piano. It's awesome. It's tit for tat, how awesome your lives are. And then you leave. You don't see each other again for a long time. And then you see each other again after you realize that, oh, so they posted something on Facebook. Maybe I should message them. And you message them again and you rinse, repeat. And that's how it goes. And I'm not speaking for everyone. I know not every single interaction between people is like this. People still know how to connect. But I feel like as a whole, in general, it's starting to move in this direction. Especially with the people I know. And it's strange, I find it fascinating and weird and disgusting and repulsive at the exact same time. Like, it's just such a cocktail of emotion, and I'm guilty of it too. And that's why I wanted to do this podcast, the episode about it. It's because, especially as a comedian, I care so much about putting out an image of just being a happy, goofy, funny, positive guy that I'm afraid about being serious, Like, if I meet someone, I always have this pressure of portraying an image of being funny. Or, I, have to make them laugh. Like, I don't know what it is inside. It's just, I need to make them laugh. Like, even if it's something stupid, like, even if it's, self-deprecating. Self-deprecating humor is the best type of humor. I'll just put it out there to try and get a laugh. And just so I can portray that image. And I'm guilty of it too. But I just don't want to be that, though. I don't want to be... an image to follow me. I don't want to follow an image. And I feel like if you're always constantly working to portray something, then you're really just putting on a mask, you know. And at the end of the day, when you care more about image than, you know, connection, you really just, it just becomes a game of what mask are you putting on, you know. And I've always been the type to float around. Like, I've never really had a solid group of friends. And I think once I started moving around, going around to different social groups, you know, and because I was able to do that, I was able to learn how to interact with people from all different types of backgrounds, you know. I could be in a band playing fucking indie folk and also going to b-boy hip-hop jams and, like, breakdancing and cyphers, like, things like that, you know. It's, you can't, I mean, you can be yourself, but at the time when I was young, like, I put on different masks, and I didn't even know I was doing it. I really didn't. It wasn't until I was older, like now, where I even have some sense that I'm doing this for other people because I want to put a certain image so that I can run smoothly through it, you know? So I can kind of be accepted within that group or that social sphere. And it's just, it becomes a game of charade. Like, I just put a mask on to float freely through a different environment and until I move to the next. So it gets to the point where you start questioning, well, what the fuck is real and what isn't real? And I feel like a lot of people start wondering this in some shape or form. What, not as explicitly as that, maybe, but I think at a certain point you start to question, like, what is really me and what is what I put on for other people? Is this an image that I want, or is it just something I do to make other people happy? What makes me happy? You know, it's a fucking myriad, a quagmire of fucking questions that you just really run into at that point. So, what I'm trying to get at right now, because, you know, let's not go into the whole happiness business. I'm just talking about the masks, you know, the image that we want, and how far that can go. And it's goofy. It's silly, because before, you couldn't really do this without social media. I mean, granted you could to a certain extent, but I feel like social media has really fucking drilled this into society. You know, you're just showing everyone the A-reel. The B-reel is off the books. You don't show any of the bad stuff. And sometimes you might with a pity post where it's like something bad happened, so people can like it and send nice comments and things like that. And, you know, it's also good. Social media can be good. You can find comfort online from people, and that's great. But I feel like most of the time, it's not that. It's a what about me at the end of the day. And it can really get to a point where social media is just about attention. And, you know, who doesn't want attention? Fuck, I'm a comedian. The reason I'm on stage in the first place is because I fucking need attention. I crave it. And I feel like as a whole, that's become really just the norm. You know, at least I'll admit it, but how many people would? It's kind of repulsive once you think about it, you know? How attention whore-like we've become as a generation. The Facebook generation, where we take a selfie in front of grandma's casket because we want to show people that we're sad, you know? Things like that. Fuck, you don't have to do that. You can deal with it and also have friends there to talk about it with. But not over Facebook chat, which is what's fucked up. It's like, that's where it's gone. Like, that's how disconnected we've become. We try to connect with people over a keyboard, and that's, you know, that's become the norm. That's where it's comfortable. And the thing is, that wouldn't really be a problem. Like, that's fine. Connecting with people over the internet, it's fine. It's convenient. But I feel like because it's convenient, it becomes comfortable. And because it's comfortable, you just want to stick to it. Because people love comfort zones. And when you're comfortable, you really don't want to be uncomfortable. You don't want to change. And any interaction that's below a surface level is going to be kind of uncomfortable. There's going to be truth talked about. There's going to be things that you don't want to see, that are going to be shown to you. And people aren't going to just be nice. People are going to be more than that. And that's what's going to happen when you're not in front of a keyboard. When you're not just reading text. When you're not just showing people and people aren't just showing to you. When you're not taking turns. It's become that. It's like a strategy game, like fucking Risk, where you roll the dice, you take turns going back and forth. It's just become that, really. In both how we chat and how what we show to people, it's become so closely monitored and controlled, all our interactions with each other, because we can control it. What we show online is totally within our means of control. But when we're not, then, all sorts of shit breaks loose. It becomes uncomfortable. When I sit down with a person over coffee, I can't really control how they're going to interact with me. That's totally up in the air. And I think that's what makes people uncomfortable. Like, for example, I can't speak worth shit right now. Like, my brain's not functioning. It's on like 2% capacity right now. I usually function off of 5, but 2%, that's pretty low. That's almost like fucking brain dead in a coma, pushing buttons, just one single button all day type of brain activity. See, like, I can't even make analogies right now. What the fuck is wrong with me? Anyways, I could stop, right? I could edit this, I could cut, but I feel like it would mess with how, authentic this would be. Granted, it would probably make for a better podcast episode, but I always want to keep these pretty genuine and authentic. It's still online. I could still do it, but I can't. I don't want to. I mean, I could, but I just don't want to. And I also, that's the thing. That's the thing. Like, the idea of it being genuine and authentic. Same thing goes for my interactions with people. It's ever since I've been back, I feel like I have to show an image, and I'm interacting with other people's images as well. When what I'm really craving is just a conversation. I just want to sit down and talk about what's going on with you, what's going on with me. And there's not always going to be awesome. It's not always going to be great. But I can actually see people visibly uncomfortable when you bring up things that are not going great in your life. Like, for example, this is why I love my coworkers so much. Because, granted, I hate my job in retail. But what's so great about having having coworkers in retail is that you get to bitch and hate on your job with everyone. Like, everyone's not going to have money. You work in retail. But you're in it together. You could just be like, fuck, this sucks. What's going on in your life? That sucks. Yeah, that sucks. The same here. It sucks for me too. It's very human. And it's a common denominator between two people. And you can really relate over it. And it's also real. Like, they're not putting on a mask in front of me. They're being so candid and honest. They just hate their lives, as I do, working in front of customers and having to deal with other people's bullshit. We can be honest with each other about it, and that's what's so great. And I'd like to have that with other people too. But I feel like people don't want to do that. Of course, you don't want people to look down on you, and you feel like there's some sort of shame and embarrassment. And you don't want to bring people down with your own problems. It's your problems. It's not their problems, so don't affect their lives with your problems. But I feel like that's the wrong way to think about it. At the end of the day, it's just about you. And if this person is supposed to be a friend or someone you're going to keep in your life, they should be seeing you. Everything that's going on with you. And that's not just what you want to put out there into the world. It's your choice. But at the end of the day, it's your choice whether or not you want to open up and really show you and connect with a person, or stay within your comfort zone, behind your wall. There's only a limit to how close you can get to another human being when you're at that point. It depends on what you want. And sometimes you don't even know you're missing it until you experience it for the first time. And it's uncomfortable. It's weird, being so exposed, having someone else know so much about you, having to be so vulnerable at a point, and you don't even have to put yourself in it. You don't even have to be in that situation, but yet you're forcing yourself to be in it. Why? Why force yourself to be uncomfortable? It's only if you're craving real connection. And real connection means not playing this, not shadow boxing with egos, is a way I saw it put in this piece I read a while back, and I thought that analogy was really, really good. It really does seem like shadowboxing of egos. I feel like people feed into their egos way too much, and their opinions and things like that. Like that's like, for example, you hear social media activists, they're so damn active online, and they like to pawn it off like it's because, oh, social media is so great, we can reach a broader audience in a way we never could before. Yeah, that's true, but if you also see, it's all just a circle jerk. It's just a bunch of people with the same opinion, just really just an echo chamber of that, just reinforcing each other and patting each other on the back, saying you think that, you're good, and then anybody who doesn't agree is a quote unquote hater, or a white cis male. And the reason it works is because it's just an echo chamber. It's just a loudspeaker for you to scream and shout. You're not having a conversation. It's just you saying something and having other people agree with you. You get the attention. You never have to be truly vulnerable because you can hide behind a computer screen. It's controlled. Let's say someone does have a rebuttal against me. I put my opinion out there. They say, hey, fuck you and your opinion. It's wrong. I don't agree with it. I then have time to sit behind my keyboard and think of 6 paragraphs or pages or whatever the fuck book you want to write about why I'm right. And then post. And don't forget to check that entire fucking essay you just wrote for every single spelling and grammar mistake, because they're going to point that out and really drill into you like a grammar Nazi. So you tend to do that too. That's 2 hours well spent. But that's what I mean. Again, back to what I was saying. I know I'm being repetitive, but I'm just trying to tie it back. And also, I'm kind of delirious because it's 1:30 in the morning. But you can just do that because it's not an interaction with a human being. It's just become the norm. And I don't like it. I really did. I just don't like it. I want people to be people again. And it's, there's a movement going on. Put the phone away, experience it, all that type of, hip-de-boo-bah bullshit that people think is bullshit, but honestly is pretty true. I like Snapchat. Snapchat's cool. I like snapping my friends. It's funny periodically. But then they added the Snapchat story, and oh my god, like it's just another way to show people, this is what's going on in my life. And granted, that's interesting, but I liked it better when you sent it to people, like, because then I know they're doing it on purpose, like they're sending it to me. But now they can just like mass produce these snaps and just put it on their story, and then it's just like you click on the story and it's just what their life is for the past 24 hours. And you notice people like post their entire day on Snap stories, and it's no longer about sending snaps between people. Like, I don't have people sending me snaps anymore. Where are all my dick pics? I love those dick pics. Now they don't send me dick pics. Now they just put the dick pic on their story, and they somehow think that it's doing the exact same job. No. It was so much more special and endearing when you sent me that dick pic straight to my inbox. That's what I was waiting for. Now everyone gets to enjoy it. I thought it was just me. That's just not fair. It was so much more. And then they changed it. It was nice, but they changed it. And now I'm not really a fan of Snapchat anymore, because it's no longer just, it was funny. It was like kind of novel, just sending pictures back and forth, of my penis to other people. But now it's not fun. Now it's just about showing my penis to everyone, like Facebook and Instagram and all that. It lacks the connection. It's weird. We've gotten to a point in society where we're so damn connected. The internet has made it so convenient for me to be connected with everyone else. And at the same time, I've never felt more alone. And, that could be a commentary about my life and all my, how well I keep my social connections and friends and all that. Or it could just be that's where it's going for everyone, People just blame it on the fact that once you're not in college or school anymore, everyone just falls off. But I just kind of feel like it's a mix of people not giving a shit anymore, and also just because they know that they can see you on Facebook, or they can just catch you on Twitter or Instagram. You're in arm's length always, but you're never really there. And I feel like that's where it's gone. it's gone. It's really lonely. It gets to a point where the whole idea of image just stops people from connecting. Because, let's be real, life is hard. No one's really got it figured out. No one. And some people might, and that might make people feel bad. Like, you look on Facebook, you see how well Susie's doing, who the fuck just got married, and you're like, God damn it, my life sucks compared to Veronica. Fuck. And it makes you less willing to go out and talk to people, and especially express what the shit that's going on in your life. But all the people out there who are friends with me, and you listen to this podcast, I feel like only my friends listen to this podcast anyways, you don't have to be afraid. You don't have to feel weird saying that, X, Y, or Z sucks right now when I ask you how's it going. It's totally fine. I might tell you about what's shitty going on in my life, and we can laugh about it. And that's what's really the most important part, is you get to laugh about it with somebody else. And if you're not in the mood to laugh, maybe you can cry about it. God forbid you're a man and you cry. Oh God, you might have to cut off your penis and join the other side, like Kylie Jenner. What the fuck? Yeah, I heard that's why. Actually, I think that's why Bruce Jenner became a woman, is because he cried once, and that wasn't okay. They made him become a woman. I'm kidding, by the way, before anyone listens to this and gets offended. I'm just fucking around. Okay? It's okay. You don't have to feel so uncomfortable showing people aspects of your life that you're not too proud of yourself. It's alright. I feel like, especially me right now, I have no idea what I'm doing with life. I'm probably going to be broke, potentially for the rest of my life, if it keeps going the course it's going right now. And when I meet people and they're like, oh, you graduated, what are you doing with that degree? And I say nothing, because I'm trying to be a comedian now. It's not a good feeling. It's not. But at the same time, I force myself to do it, just say honestly that that's what I'm doing, because it's good to be honest. At the end of the day, I'm happy with just being open, even if it makes me vulnerable and it puts me out there for people to really shit on me and to judge. But really, who gives a flying fuck? Who gives a fuck if they judge you? Honestly. Oh no. You said that, you told someone about your dog dying, and they just, they said get over it. Fuck them. This is a great way, this is a good exercise to weed people out of your life. Fuck that dude. Fuck them all. If they, I know this is really going to the whole, fuck the hater culture, but honestly, if you open up to someone and they make you feel bad about it, then that is a true motherfucker. And you don't really need that in your life. It's just, weed them out. You can't pick family, you can't pick your friends, just weed them the fuck out. And move on, and try and do it again. Rinse and repeat. Don't let the cruelty of the world darken your heart. Just try and make it better and do it again. Just keep doing it again and again and again and again, because that's how you live. You gotta be open. Don't clam up. Be open to the world. And that, you can grow thick skin and blah blah. I don't know where I was going with that, honestly. It's just, be a bug ball of sunshine, says Elbert Danger Kim. Alright, well, that was my giant rant about image, social media, and basically my own insecurities about image that I've noticed nowadays, and also my deep crippling loneliness, as I have found that it's harder to connect to people in a day and age where everyone is a fucking click or button push away from a conversation. Yet no one really wants to have a conversation. So go out and have a conversation, you fucks. Go get coffee, do something, meet up with a person face to face, and don't watch a fucking movie or watch Netflix and chill the fuck out. No, just meet up with someone, have a conversation. If you're some stoic dude who feels like, talking is for pussies, I'll guarantee you that you don't do it because it makes you uncomfortable, and you need to step out of your comfort zone, dog. You need to do it. Just do it. Good things will happen. I promise you. You'll foster greater relationships, stronger bonds, things like that. And also, listen to the Danger Zone podcast. Tell people about the Danger Zone podcast, because this is the end of the podcast episode. If you liked it, leave us a review on iTunes, and we are on Android devices as well. I promise I'll try to have better episodes in the future. I'm not in the right state of mind to be making a podcast, but I told myself I'll put a podcast episode out every Tuesday. I'm going to fucking stick to that schedule. I'm putting a podcast episode out every Tuesday. You appreciate that? Then show some love and support by spreading the word about the Danger Zone podcast. Okay, guys. Next podcast is dropping next Tuesday. Next week, I'm going to be having a good friend's bro on the podcast who's actually trying to make it as a artist. He's I don't know whether to call him a rapper or just an artist, because he does rap, but I don't know if he's an MC or anything, so I don't really know what to call him really. He's an artist. He does really cool chill hip hop, and I'll put a clip of it at the end of this podcast if I know how to do that. I'm gonna try and add it to the end of this audio track. If not, I will link it in the bio. Just check it out. His name's Kerry, and he's going to be on the podcast next episode. We're going to talk about his career, how it's gone from him just talking about beats, laying it on the tracks, and then now doing opening shows for big-name dudes. And, let's just talk. I'm just going to have a conversation with him, because I like talking to people who, are going the creative route. Because, one, it's inspiring for me. Two, it's also an interesting story that you really don't hear talked about, especially for a guy who's just starting out. So next week, Kerry's going to be on the podcast. Check it out. Stay tuned, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Come here and come put it on me. Girl, I know you gotta get that money. Don't be shy, I know you want me. Suit and tie, come put it on me. Come here, come put it on me. Girl, I know you gotta get that money. Don't be shy, 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 that money.